Hello everyone, I'm sorry I'm a few minutes late. I was having issues with the internet, so I'm really hoping, geez, I can't get this up. I'm really hoping I do not lose a connection here. So it is of course me, Tanya Otterstein-Liehs here from bodybusiness.ca. Going live, Talk with Tanya, Fridays at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'm gonna have a drink of my tea. So, as I mentioned in the preview, rather than focusing on exercise, weight loss, eating, I'm going to focus on that health and wellness aspect, and that is going to be about mental illness. And there's a reason I decided to talk about this today. One of the things I just found out, I think this was yesterday, is Facebook has put out, I'm not quite sure, I haven't looked much into it, but an icon. So if you're feeling really low or feeling suicidal, there is an icon now that you can open, and then automatically you can connect someone with somebody, talk about how you're feeling. And they said one of the things Mark Zuckerberg wanted to do is really help prevent and lower the suicidal rates that are out there. And a lot of friends, acquaintances that of course connected through Facebook here, they have just lost a friend, family member through suicide. So I just feel it's really, really important to talk about this, and this is where that health and wellness aspect is coming in. So I have mentioned before, I do have two family members that have mental illness, so when I speak about this topic, it really resonates home with me. So that is how I have the connection. So if you have any questions when you're coming in live, what I'm going to do is leave them until the end, because I feel what the message I want to send out is really, really important, and I want to get that out before I stop with answering any questions, reading comments, and whatnot. All right, so what I'm really happy to hear about is, years ago, and it actually wasn't even that long ago, even 2 years ago, right, you kind of heard about mental illness like anxiety, depression, leading to suicide, but you heard it, but it wasn't such a talked about subject as it is now. So I'm really happy to see the stigma about that is going away. I'm not going to say it doesn't exist, because it still does, right? But the stigma about, something must be wrong with you, and why would you feel like that? And, as you know, the list goes on and on. That stigma is disappearing slowly, but it's come a huge way from what it has years ago, and even, like I said, up to 2 years ago. So I'm really, really happy to know that, because you personally don't know if you'll end up having anxiety issues. You don't know if all of a sudden you'll be depressed. You can be the healthiest person, and I'm talking mentally in the mind, and overall, but something all of a sudden can trigger, and this roller coaster happens. And same with family members, friends. They could be the happiest, greatest person, and all of a sudden something happens, and here comes anxiety and depression and possibly suicide. So there are, believe it or not, signs and symptoms, and I'm going to, a lot of people don't like to talk about their mental health issues, that being anxiety or depression. Sometimes they feel ashamed because they can't really understand why they feel the way they do. Again, it's just, and often medication is the way it needs to be taken to help somebody. And that is totally, totally fine. I mean, if it's going to help somebody get better, then that is the key. Exercise, of course, eating healthy also helps that. When looking at medications, not every medication suits everybody. And let's say you yourself or someone you know is on a medication for depression or anxiety. It could help for, a year, a few years, maybe only a few months, when all of a sudden it's not working anymore. And that's when it's time to look at another medication and another way of helping yourself or helping that person. So, which brings me to the signs and symptoms. And what I do want to point out is, I want you to look around if you're at home, wherever you're watching this. It used to be, 1 in 10 people had this. Then it was 1 in 5. Now, they already know 1 in 3 people have anxiety and depression issues, mental issues. I mean, that is huge, right? When I think of my circle of people, I know 2 personally, of course, family members. But then not only that, but when I think of my friends and acquaintances, all of them know at least somebody, okay? So it's really, really scary how it is out there, and it's really scary how many people this illness is affecting, because it not only affects the person that has anxiety and depression, but it affects everybody around them. And you have to think the person that has the depression, anxiety, they know it affects everybody around them. And I mean, not only are they dealing with these issues themselves and sometimes not understanding why they're feeling this way, not liking the way they feel this way. So that in itself is negative, but then knowing how it's affecting other people in their lives that they love and are really important to them, that again causes more anxiety issues or more negative feelings inside. So often, you'll hear all the time, people saying, I have a friend here, I can't believe they committed suicide. What if they were the happiest person? Or they have a family member that did or tried to, or they heard amongst their circle of friends, about this happening. And a lot of people think, oh my gosh, like, I'm in shock. How could this happen? They seem like the happiest person, and I don't get it. So that takes me to that. So remember when I talked about a lot of people are embarrassed or can't understand why they're feeling the way they are. There's nothing to be embarrassed about, but often they'll put up a front and appear different, what they're really, really feeling inside. And unless you personally have anxiety or depression, you have no idea whatsoever what it feels like inside. So if you have a friend or family member, unless you yourself face anxiety and depression, illness, you have no, and I'm going to say friggin' idea how they are feeling inside, okay? So telling them, oh, why would you feel this way? Everybody loves you, I love you, your life is great, and going on and questioning them about it, that's the worst thing you can do. Because again, you do not know truly how they're feeling inside, okay? It's kind of like, the word out there is it's the worst turmoil, it's hell, like it's beyond anything you can imagine. So I'm going to put myself in the scenario. Let's say I had anxiety or depression disorder, okay? Illness. It would be like this mental torture because I now hate the way I feel inside. I can't see things getting any better. Yes, I know everyone loves me, Yes, I know I'm surrounded by it. Yes, I know I have a wonderful family. I have a wonderful, job. Yes, I know I have a roof over my head. But the way I feel inside is I can't see myself going on anymore. I hate this feeling. I hate being like there's this black shadow above me. I hate feeling that I'm drowning and I can't get up for air. I hate feeling this anger I have inside sometimes. So those are some of the feelings that you as an anxiety depressed person can have. And you will possibly face the thoughts of suicide. Again, when I talked about, if I had anxiety or depression, I cannot see anything getting better. I've dealt with this for months and for years, nothing has changed and I just can't go on. I'm destroying everyone around me. I'm feeling miserable inside, and I can't deal with this anymore. I'm not sleeping. I possibly am losing weight or gaining weight. I'm not really eating. I'm not happy anymore. The things I used to love to do all the time, I have no interest anymore. When I'm in a room amongst people, I just can't handle that. I get really anxious inside. So again, these are feelings someone with anxiety and depression has. And then there comes a point in your life where you say, you know what, the only way out of this is if I take my life. And that's where the suicide thoughts come. And there's always signs and symptoms before someone attempts suicide. There are signs and symptoms. So, if you have a pen and paper, write this down. So it could be a month before. It could be a week before. Could be a few days before. But these are always seem to be the key signs. Again, if I had, depression, I would be telling the people around me, you know what, I hate the way I feel now. I don't know how to get out of it. I really don't care anymore whether I live or die. So that's always the key word, right? Saying, I really don't care anymore if I live or die. That is a cry for help. It's not a way of saying I need help. I'll say a nonverbal, that makes sense, way of saying help. That's where you need to get that person, whether they want or not, to emergency. If the person says that to you, I really don't care right now if I live or not. Yes, I know everyone's around me. Yeah, I know it's going to get better, but I really don't care anymore. That is a sign to you to say they're asking for help, okay? Because once they have said that, they are determined, I'm going to commit suicide, okay? And there's different ways, of course, a person tries to commit suicide. It's not that they don't want to. As they're sitting there, before they're about to attempt suicide, they will reflect and possibly send out messages or pray and say, look out after my family. I'm sorry I'm doing this, but I can't go on through this hell anymore. And all these thoughts go through their head, and then they attempt suicide. So, what happens if that person's one of the lucky ones and their attempt, although they might not feel as positive, they will at the end because they didn't really want to do it, but just didn't see a way out. So after that person attempts suicide, and of course they're hospitalized, the first thing they will tell you is, I'm so sorry, do you forgive me? I don't know why I did it. It was stupid of me. Do you forgive me? So what my feedback is that I can do is, again, you have no idea. You cannot truly understand. So what you can tell them is, not criticize them for why would you do it, not get angry with them, because That's the last thing they need, right? They were in turmoil already. So adding your negative or your anger to them is not going to help them feel better. What they possibly will also tell you is how they attempted the suicide. They might ask you, is it okay if I tell you? And your answer needs to be yes, because they need to release that. They need to explain by telling you what they were going through and what they did. And what you can tell them is, you know what? I don't know 100% how you're feeling, but it must have been hell for you to get and to attempt to do this. So again, do not get angry with that person. Just tell them, you know, although I can't truly understand, because I don't know what depression feels like, for you to have attempted suicide had to be hell. So if anything, that has helped me understand what you were going through. So being supportive is the best thing you can do for someone. And, you know, you have to let them, they're going to ask for your forgiveness. And again, they're going to feel, you know, totally guilty. And yes, there's a reason they're still here, right? If their attempt for suicide thankfully did not go through, there's a reason they're still here. So yes, forgive them, because they really can't help the way they're feeling, right? They really can't help it. So they never wanted to feel like that. So yes, forgive them. All right? Because the last thing they wanted to do was hurt you. But remember, you're glad. It's the best is they are still here, right? So again, you know, let them know that yes, you forgive them, and although you can't 100% understand, you can still, in a way, know, or you still know that it must have been beyond anything imaginable for them to have come this far. All right? And, you know, a few days later, you know, when you talk to them, you know, let them know, because part of the healing process is forgiving and the guilt, because they are going to feel it and they are going to battle that. So the best support that you can give them is letting them know that, you know, I forgive you. Now what you need to do is forgive yourself and get rid of your guilt. Because until they're totally ready to do that, the healing process can never begin. So I hope what I'm sharing with you today can really help you and anybody you know that is suffering from anxiety, depression, and possibly you know someone that attempted suicide. Okay, I'm hoping that the symptoms and signs and key words I'm giving you will send a light off or trigger something if someone says that to you. Okay, you know, again, telling them that, oh, you know, you're going to get better, things are going to get better. Well, it hasn't for a few months. It hasn't for a few years. So that's really bogus saying those words. They need to find some other help. You know, and even if that's you going with them for counseling once a week or driving them there, you know, you really need to call them every day to talk, because you will hear it in their voice. Again, depending how well you know this person, you will hear it in their voice, those thoughts again of, you know, I can't go on. So that's when you really need to keep and letting them know you're there to listen, and it's okay that they're going to go through emotional roller coaster, and letting them know that, you know what, you're still here for a reason. So again, I'm sharing with you with things that, you know, I'm hoping will help someone that you know that face these issues. And you know, the key is that support, forgiveness, not feeling guilty, not telling them you don't get it, you don't understand it, why would they? Everything's so perfect in their life, nothing's perfect. You know, that's because you know, when you have anxiety, depression, even though you're surrounded by love, you do feel alone. And that's why it's so important that with all the support groups that are out there and counseling that's out there, that you yourself, if you have anxiety or depression issues, or you know someone that does, that's why it's so important that they go for this weekly counseling, speaking with peer groups, and especially that peer groups, because everyone in that peer group, that community group, has anxiety and depression, so they truly know how each other really feels. They know that, and that support can happen. You know, that understanding of each other. So, if you found this video really helpful for yourself, and also, if you know and you feel it in your heart, remember 1 in 3 people have anxiety and depression. So it's quite possible when your friends or family members have anxiety and depression, but they're too embarrassed to tell you. And again, it's nothing to be embarrassed about. Like I said, I'm really happy that it's a talked about illness out there now. So if you could please share this video in on your own Facebook page, I would really appreciate it. You never know who you would be helping, but knowing that you help someone is a great gift. Knowing you can share that help with someone is the greatest gift ever that you could give someone. And I think I'm going to end it on that. Okay. Again, I really felt there was a poll telling me yesterday that that I need to talk about this. And right now, chakra right here is getting tight, which is telling me that, you know, yes, this is, you know, personal thing, but also there's someone that when they go to watch this recording, this is message actually going out to a lot of people out there, and possibly someone that is watching the recording. All right. So share this. Let someone know that you are here for them. You're not here to ridicule them. You're here to listen, and if you know they need guidance in finding help, that you will help them with that. All right. Tanya Otterstein-Liehs, wishing you a lovely day. Wish you health, wellness, and of course, on a final note, if you yourself are facing anxiety and depression issues, please know you are not alone. It is nothing to be embarrassed about. There are resources out there to help you. You are here for a reason. You're meant to be here for a reason. So please either reach out to a family member, reach out to a friend, reach out. You know, we almost everybody has everyone has access to the internet. If you don't yourself, you go to the library. Look up support, look up counseling groups that are there for you to help you through this wicked, awful hell battle you're going through. All right? All the best to you. Take care. Bye.